is going to start now. Okay, so what do you know about research? Tell the person next to you what you know about research. Have you done any? Do you think it's a good idea? Tell the person next to you. Okay, I can see you, and I can see that most people are not talking. Are you very tired after your lunch? Tell the person next to you what you know about research. Okay, I'm sure you have some experience. I'm sure some people have a lot of experience of research, and I think some people have very little experience of research. So we're going to introduce different types of research. I'm going to look at some very, very simple examples, and then we're going to start on a big research project that all the English teachers in Sudan can do together through Sudan ELDA. Is that okay? A teaching association is a perfect place, a perfect organization to do simple research that can involve everybody. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Can you see my screen? Yes, okay, great. So my title is Teaching Associations and Research, Teachers Solving Problems. And this is the third area of teachers solving problems that you've been looking at today. The first is teachers solving problems through teaching associations. The second was teachers solving problems through interactive activities and professional development. And the third area is teachers solving problems through research. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so what types of research can we do in our teaching association, Sudan ELDA? Now, the first, the type of research that most people think of, first of all, is academic research. Now, this could be for a degree, BA, BSc, for a master's, or for a doctorate, PhD. And this type of research is usually very complex, very well structured, very staged, with a lot of analysis. It's often very necessary for career progression. For example, if you work in a university, you have to do the research and you have to publish the research as well to keep your job, at least in the UK. But there's a big problem. Is it interesting? And the answer to that is usually not. So many research publications that people have to produce from their very detailed, complex, structured, staged, analytical, academic research, most people never read. And there are many journals of research lying in libraries, lying online, lying on tables that nobody ever reads because it's too complex, too distant from our normal teaching, and just not right to teachers in their normal teaching life. Do you agree? There has been some research done on how much teachers read this type of research, and it has proved that most people read nothing at all, and most of the research is hardly ever read. So let's leave that research to the side, forget about that complex academic research, and move on. So what we could do is to take the interesting parts of the research and just write about or publish about or read or share those interesting parts. I don't know if you read the first Sudan ELDA newsletter. If you didn't, you can get the link from the Sudan ELDA committee now. And you can see part of this research publication that I published with teachers I've been working with in Guinea-Bissau. I don't know if you know Guinea-Bissau, a very, very, very small country in West Africa, just under Senegal. And I've been working with teachers there for several years. And we did some research for their degree on social issues. And this was the world around our classrooms, they wanted to call it. It was social issues like gender problems, like rubbish, like recycling, like illness, like crime, all of those different types of things that affect our learners and affect our classes, but are not actually in the classroom. So we decided that the most interesting parts of these research that other people could read about were the results, the discussion, and the background. And the most interesting thing of all was the change that comes from the research. The research by itself can be very academic, very dry, but the change that comes from it is much, much more interesting. So if you would like to read some of these very short articles, it's a free online publication by IATEFL Global Issues Special Interest Group. And the link is here if you'd like to read it. And the link is also in the article in the Sudan ELDA newsletter. Okay, getting a bit more interesting, but this still takes a long time. And we teachers are very, very busy. I know I am. I think all of you are too. Put your hand up if you're very busy. Yes, yes. Okay. Teachers are always busy. They are always helping other people. They always have a lot of things to do. They always have their marking, their planning, lots of other things. And teachers are always busy people. We don't have time for this, do we? So let's look at something easier and quicker. So the third and the type that we're going to look at now is smaller, quicker research that any teachers can do. Now, there are lots of different names and different structures for this type of research. Some people have called it classroom research, done by teachers in class, not academic. Some call it exploratory research, where you're exploring different aspects of teaching and learning. And some call it action research, where you're doing something to research rather than just reading about it and studying. Of course, these three different types, and there are more, are all different. And if you study them in detail, you can see a different approach, different stages, and different ways of doing it. But they're all very, very similar in that they are small bits of research, they are quick, they are accessible, they are interesting, and they're the sort of thing that all teachers can do. So we're going to look at some of those now. I want to tell you about my favorite piece of research I've ever done. On my master's course, I did some research into code switching, which is speaking different languages at once. That was my academic research, and I enjoyed that, and it was very interesting. But my favorite research ever is this one that I want to tell you about now. I teach in London. I teach mostly asylum seekers and refugees. We have many Sudanese students among our ESOL students there. It's mainly long-term people who have come to London often to escape terrible lives or to start anew, or economic migrants, people who don't have a particularly good life. We have a lot of refugees. We had refugees from Syria. Now we have a lot of people from Ukraine. We've had lots from Afghanistan, and all the war-torn areas in the world. They come to seek refuge. And my job is a wonderful job with the whole world in my classroom, teaching language. A lot of them suffer from a lot of trauma, and a lot of them have many problems to solve, as I'm sure you can imagine. So my question for this very small bit of research was, do the English classes help make learners happier? A very simple question, but it's quite important, I think, especially with the context. So I did a little piece of action, and all it was to ask all the students to tick an emoticon on the way in and out of class for 4 weeks. I had a piece of paper on the desk at the front, and they had to tick if they were happy, okay, sad, miserable, upset. We had different emoticons, no language involved, so everybody understood. They all put a tick on how they were feeling on the way in, and a tick on how they were feeling on the way out. And luckily, the result was that in general, after the 4 weeks, they seemed to be happier on the way out than on the way in, which to me made me think that the English classes were having an effect on making them a little bit happier, in contributing to their lives and their trauma and their problems, in making them feel maybe more able to deal with these things. But the most important thing was what I've called here added value, that doing this research made me think a lot more about supporting the learners emotionally to make them happier. So all the tasks and activities I was doing, all the texts, all the types of group work, I was thinking, will this make them happier? Or will this contribute to their problems? It wasn't all singing, dancing, things, forgetting about problems, but it was more on engaging with problems, understanding things, getting support from the classmates, for example. And that added value from that research made me feel very successful in helping myself help the students more. So that's my favorite research. Difficult? Not at all. Takes a long time? Definitely not. Boring to read about? No, because it's useful. Could you do something like that if you wanted to? Yes, of course. So this type of research is very accessible, I feel. We're going to look at a couple more examples now together, okay? So here is a system, and the system has 5 stages. The 5 stages, as we've got here, are think, discover, analyze, write, and share. So this is a very simple type of classroom action or exploratory research that everyone can do. This was in Guinea-Bissau, and my students, my teachers there, they all said, our students are very slow. I was observing classes there, and I saw that sometimes they set some group work for students. They were working in groups, and they set them maybe 30 minutes to do one little exercise. And I thought, this is too slow. Surely they can move faster. They can think faster. And they said, no, it's too hot. Nobody can do anything. You don't understand, Linda. This is the way the students work. But I thought maybe we can investigate. So the question was, can my students work faster? What do you think the result was? Let's have a look at the stages, because it's good to follow these 5. So think, discover, analyze, write, and share. So let's have a look and see what else we did. Now, I have the stages here on the left and what we actually did on the right. The stages are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we did has letters A, B, C, D, E. But they're not in the right order, are they? We need to read them and match them. This is to stop you from falling asleep after lunch, to keep you awake and active. I have color-coded the first two. So think, the question is B. Can students work faster? Discover was what I had to do. And that one is E. So we decided the teachers should plan to increase the number of sentences they tell the students to write in a certain time over 3 lessons to see the progress. So 2 sentences in 10 minutes, the first lesson, then 4 sentences in 10 minutes on the second lesson, and then 6 sentences in 10 minutes to increase gradually to see, so the students probably wouldn't even notice that they were making them do more work. Okay, your go now, your task now is to match the 3 other stages. Can you match 3, 4, and 5 with A, C, and D? On your tables, I'll give you 2 minutes, okay? You can talk together, you can tell each other, help each other, think together. Okay, has anyone managed? It's not difficult. Okay, let's have a look together. On my next slide here, I have color-coded the answers so we can check. Did you agree with my answers? Yes? No? Okay, so think, question, can students work faster? Discover, plan to increase gradually. Then analyze, this is not an academic scientific analysis, it's just looking at the results. So the analysis here is note the time the students took and the number of students who wrote the number of sentences you asked for. Did it work? So this is like finding your results. It doesn't take the teacher much time. You can do it in the lesson. And here, this would only take, I don't know, 1 minute in your class. It's not too much to do. Then write is stage D. Write 3 simple sentences about what the problem was, what you did, and what you learnt. And my suggestion is that we, all the teachers here in Sudan ELDA, share what they've done with this research. And a brilliant place to share it is in the Sudan ELDA newsletter. 3 simple sentences is not very much. If you share with all the other teachers, everyone else can learn. That's like my little research about making learners happier in class. Good idea? I hope you agree with me. And then the share at the end is the most important thing, because one little tiny informal piece of research can help lots of other teachers. Share 5C, lots of other teachers read it, learn from it, and try it out. I've just noticed a spelling mistake on my slide. Teachers, I've spelt it wrongly. Terrible. I'll change that later. Okay, is this doable? Is this something you could do? Yes, no? Yes. Okay, good. Let's look at another example. Okay, this is also relevant for Sudan, I think. And this is another project we did, a small project in Guinea-Bissau with teachers. So the problem was that lots of students don't understand any English at all, or forget from one lesson to the next. And their question was, will my students learn more if I translate? So I want you to talk to your partner now to see if you could stage a very, very, very simple classroom research. How could you discover something to help answer this question? What would you have to analyze? Where could you write about it? And how could you share? See what ideas you have. Talk to your neighbor for 2 minutes. Okay?
Yes, they can see now.
I can see, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, have you got any ideas? Yes, no? Okay, I'm going to show you the ideas that we actually did to see if this is similar to your ideas. Let's have a look. So here, the number one, the think is, will my students learn more if I translate? Then we've got a matching exercise for 2, 3, 4, 5. Discover, analyze, write, share. I'd like you now to please match the numbers with the letters. Can you do that? 1 minute. Okay, when you've matched them, share with your partner. Tell the people on your table to see if you've got the same stages, the same matchings. Okay, do you agree? It's not difficult, is it, these? Let's have a look and see. Now I've color-coded them. So the way to discover the little bit of action research here was B. So the suggestion was to teach 2 different vocabulary lessons. In the first one, all in English, and in the second one, all the words translated. And then tell the students that you'll give them a test the next week on all the words. Give them a quick test on the same number of words from each lesson, like, for example, labeling 2 simple diagrams. Okay, this is the sort of thing we do anyway in class. Then analyze, number 3. We compared the results and counted how many words from each lesson the students got correct. Is there a difference? And actually, in Guinea-Bissau, when they translated the words, the students actually understood them and they got more words correct from where translation was used. So the translation helped them. Of course, it wasn't Arabic, it was Portuguese or Creole, but the translation helped the learners to understand the words and to have a link to remember them. Translation used to be banned in the classroom. Last century, translation was always used. Then in the communicative teaching, translation was banned or it was a taboo. And now, of course, translation is coming back again as something really, really useful to use sometimes to help learners understand, especially in a monolingual group like yours in Sudan. So this was a positive result for translation. Then we got them to write for their newsletter. So, of course, if you did this, you could write just 3 simple sentences, not a big research project. 3 sentences. What was the problem? What did you do? What did you learn? And again, a brilliant way of sharing this knowledge and experience is to send it to the Sudan newsletter or in the ELDA members WhatsApp group. I hope all of you are members of the WhatsApp group because there are going to be a lot more activities happening there. If you're a new member or about to join, then please get signed up to the ELTA members WhatsApp group because that's a really, really good way of staying in touch, sharing activities, sharing learning and working together. The last one there, 5, share. Lots of other teachers read it, learn from it, and try it out. This is brilliant, isn't it? Small input, great output, and great learning. Okay, we are now going to apply all of this to the teaching of English in Sudan. And I'm going to get you to do a little bit of thinking and writing down. Is that okay? So we're not going to do all of this now. We're just going to do the first stage. And the first stage is thinking. So first, in pairs, I want you to make a list of all the problem areas you can think of, or some problem areas related to English teaching in Sudan. I've got a couple of examples there that I know there's not enough resources. I know there's no electricity in lots of places. Okay, so any type of problems with training of teachers, problems with resources, problems with type of learning, problems with hours of English classes, anything you like. I'm going to give you 5 minutes now to make a list of all the problem areas you can think of. Okay, so one person on each table can make a list. You can do it in pairs or in groups. Is that okay? 5 minutes, make a list of as many problem areas as possible. Okay, I've just been told we need to finish earlier. So have you got a list of some problems? Yes? Okay, the next stage is keep your problems for now. You need to decide on questions that you can ask about those problems. And you need to write the questions. Okay, we start with the questions, and then with Sudan ELDA later in the newsletter and in activities, we can work on these together. So just 1 minute now, write out some questions about those problems. Okay, have you all got a question? Now, we're going to share these questions, and you have a choice of how to share them. Now, if you have your question on a piece of paper, you can give it to Mohammed Yusuf or Lubna. Mohammed Yusuf standing up, thank you. You can give all the questions and we will put them online on a document, or you can post them in the members WhatsApp group, or you can email them if you prefer to Ahmed, our publications officer, or you can post them on a Padlet, which I'm going to show you. Imagine if all the teachers wrote their problems and questions, how much would we all learn? I really want to encourage you to make the most of the new Sudan ELDA, sharing, supporting, volunteering, and let's all learn and develop together, because that's what a teaching association is all about. I just want to share with you one last thing. This Padlet, do you know Padlet? Here is a link to a Padlet that we can use, that people can put their questions on. If you've done them on paper, given them to Mohammed Yusuf, that's fine. I can put them on later. But all you have to do, which I will show you now briefly, okay, is on this Padlet. Where are we? I will try to share. Okay, so on my Padlet here. No, it's not working. Yes, it is. It's going very slowly. Okay, have you used Padlet before? It's a brilliant thing to use because everybody can put their comments or questions on the same link and you can share them afterwards. So have a look at. You can see that internet is also slow in the UK, not just in Sudan. No, it's not working. Okay, let me try a different way. Huh. Okay, I think we will leave it there. And you've got the link to the Padlet. I'm afraid I cannot show it to you at the moment, but you can have a look. I think I have a problem with my computer. You can have a look later and we will share the link on Aha, now it's come. I wonder if I can do this just quickly to show you. No, I don't think it's working. Okay, so we will share the link with that later in the WhatsApp group and in the Sudan ELDA newsletters when we're to do all this work on the